All right. Well, today here at Solus Partners, we are really excited to have Dustin with Plenum, and they have a very unique health and safety solution for the construction industry. Dustin, just to start out, could you tell us a little bit about how you came into this solution and your story up to this point?
Yeah, it was primarily from solving my own business problems, working for other people over the years, private and public firms, a few Fortune 500 companies that I grew up in, and just kind of making my way through the HSE profession. We say HSE, health, safety, environmental, and kind of getting to that department manager, department leader kind of space or chair, and needing technology solutions for the business, mostly information management type stuff, and just being extremely frustrated with what was available to me, and then also having to go and get multiple software solutions to do a very simple job, in my opinion. And so going to market, finding good vendors, looking at what's available, and then bringing it in-house. And once you get the deal done, you still got to implement it. And so if you think about it, I'm a construction guy. So field users are, pretty much high school educated, and so, around that level of education, and some are more technology likened to it than others. Some are kind of standoff from a technology standpoint. That's just part of construction. But so it's got to be extremely easy to use, and it just didn't exist. So really, as I got away from working for others to start my own business, I really wanted to solve that problem because everybody that has my position, and we like small to medium sized construction firms. We're not after the Worleys or Bechtels or Floors. I mean, that's too big for us, obviously. But the small to medium sized construction firms, they're in this predicament where they're doing stuff on paper, but they know they really shouldn't be anymore. But they don't know what to do about that problem. Or they've realized that they've probably taken too much guidance from their IT professional who's in-house. They bought off on some spin-off module from Salesforce or some HRIS system or CRM, and brought that in at top dollar, like premium dollar, with all these features they'll never use. And it just overcomplicates the end user experience. And so, safety is about being able to take account of what's happening in the field in real time. And if your system's too complicated to use, our construction hand's not going to spend a lot of time trying to figure it out. So it's got to prompt them through, get the right information, nothing more, nothing less, and it's got to be easy to use. And so I never really found that on the market. And so we just decided to collect some health and safety professionals who've actually done the job, worked in the field on projects, know what it takes, and reverse engineer it, if you want to think of it that way. So we make the design, we say how it works, and then we get an IT person to help us code it and develop it, and then we test it, and if it's too complicated, we send it back, and so that's our process.
That's very insightful. Could you give us a little bit of comparison around you guys relative to some of these other big box solutions in regards to like what the user would experience with you?
Yeah, for us, it's just customization, and I think it's easy for me to say that now being smaller than big box, because we're very personal with the customer base we do have, and we do. So we're a technology company for anything health and safety, but we do other services as well, which the big boxes won't help them with. And so we custom brand, everybody will white label something to some degree, but I don't mean that. I mean, make the actual content look and feel like their in-house program. We do a lot of training solutions using emerging technology, whether it's AI or and other just things that have advanced over the last 5 or 10 years, and it's really customer centric and branded to them. And if you just go out on the marketplace to snag that up, it's really expensive if you can find it. And most of the time, you're putting your employees through training, as just using training as an example. But you're putting your employees through training that looks and feels like it was made 25 years ago. They're out in the open on a construction site, and the training looks like it's in a warehouse with no lights somewhere. It just is terrible. And that's kind of been like industry standard, And so now, Now you got some folks out trying to be more creative, and you don't need a big production crew to pull it off anymore. So a lot of the expense is gone. Um, but really using our software to customize to their style, brand, logos, look and feel like their company. And so that's pretty popular. I didn't anticipate that. You know, we were doing SaaS build out, you know, for specifically for incidents, inspections, audits, dashboards, reports, those kind of things. And this custom training stuff has really carried the weight of most of our development costs, just unintentionally. But happy to do it, and it's been fun. So keep doing it.
I mean, it sounds like you guys are seeing some great traction.
Yeah, it's been a good, this is about 2 years in business, and first year was all just development. You know, there was nothing really to put out there. I was working full time. My partner was working full time. And so there wasn't a whole lot to beat the streets with. It was just conceptually, we know what we want to do. We could talk about it because folks have experienced it in whatever product they use today. And we talk about how we were going to make it better. And that kind of helps shore our vision up and keep the development on track. But then, you know, fast forward 14, 15 months, and we actually got some product and that functions and adding features and stuff every day, able to demo and put things in a demo environment. You know, it was a big hurdle. That was a scary step, but we got there. And today we get real user feedback and experience, and we get to make improvements every day. And we're continuing to kind of solve the problem. So Plenum means kind of one-stop shop, which really doesn't exist today. I mean, a lot of folks have built themselves that way, but it's rare to find one software provider that you can do incidents, you can do inspections, you can do your reporting, you can do fleet management, you can run an MVR on a CDL driver, you can everything in one place, you know. And so, you know, just backing up to my last role, we'd have 5 contracts with 5 vendors, overpaying each one annually, just to accomplish those simple work streams. And so, trying to solve that for our customers, which makes us really competitive. I wouldn't say undercut the market, but certainly cheaper than what's out there, you know.
You guys sound like a much more holistic solution, kind of like you were saying, that one-stop shop model. What are
Well, yeah, Steve, I think that's because I'm, you know, still love the profession of occupational safety and health, and so does my partner. So, like, we'll always be health and safety professionals at the end of the day. So I don't see us ever really stopping the consulting services side of the business and just doing software. And what that does is it really entrenches us with the organization. So if we're there helping them with due diligence on an acquisition, strictly focused on safety and environmental stuff, or if we're just there solving like an OSHA compliance regulatory matter that they have, it just opens all these other opportunities to partner on, you know, digital work streams, forms, whatever the business problem is, kind of really staying in tune with them, and making a great, you know, holistic product for them, partner, you know, more than a vendor. So then that's pretty unique. Now, I'm not naive enough to say that one day we'll be too spread out or too big to be able to do that, but I hope to always be involved on that level, you know, with the customer base. So we'll see.
Well, it sounds like, I mean, you truly then are a health and safety partner for the long term.
Hmm. Yep. Yep. Um, you know, there's customers we're in their day to day and in their leadership meetings and prepping their board decks and writing their procedures and manuals and managing their client qualification sites. And it doesn't matter what it is. If it's health and safety related, we'll do it. We do design work, graphic design. If it's got to do with health and safety or running a health and safety department, we'll do it. You know, so
That's
it's been
awesome.
fun.
What have you guys been hearing from your customers that are on the platform right now?
It's been good, but you know, it's controlled growth for us, really. Like, there's others that we probably should be courting a little more serious about leaving who, and we've done exploratory discovery type calls. But honestly, it's more important for us to grow and learn, you know, kind of slowly. And so we're not turning anybody away necessarily, but at the same time, we are being conscious of who we take on as we continue to kind of round out the features of the software from a functionality standpoint, you know, because unique to us a little bit is, you know, my name and reputation's tied to the product in my mind, so it's definitely controlled growth for us.
And for a manager that's, considering a few different options, why would they want to go with you guys relative to like a vibe code type option?
Well, one, because the field users will use our software. User adoption. I mean, you know this. It doesn't matter if you're talking about safety software or something else, but user adoption fails, over half the time, to some degree. And it is way more challenging than one might think to go buy a good software solution, and then that's the first hurdle. But then to get the employee base to actually use it, it's a whole different story. And so, it's unique to us in the sense that if it's a HRIS system like ADP or Paylocity, well, yeah, they're going to use it. Their paycheck's there. But, as it relates to just putting in health and safety information into a software, it better be user friendly. And I think we've got a strong advantage there. And then I also think timing was good for us in the sense of just how much artificial intelligence has changed almost everything. And so being able to use AI to prompt the user along, help them write, help them with grammar, help them round out thoughts and sentences, and, better describe the things that are occurring in the field. And so I think we timed it really well. So those are a few reasons why, you might look to Plenum as opposed to one of the more popular brands. And then there's a few that'll build themselves as, health and safety built by health and safety professionals. But when you pull the layers back, that's not necessarily true. There's always an IT coder guy that's never been on a construction job in his life, designing most of the product. And so I think our benefit, that's a big competitive advantage for us.
You can't really replicate industry experience, so that seems to be a pretty strong moat.
Yep. I earned it the hard way.
Well earned. Now,
Yeah.
could you describe a little bit more about kind of where Plenum's going to be headed and kind of the highs and lows of the journey so far?
Yeah. Well, all of the lows have been associated with being a new business owner for myself. Having a vision, but then trying to execute it. It's been way more than I ever anticipated, and I've learned way more than I ever thought. There's so many things you don't anticipate, and how you're going to pay the next bill or fund the next project, and just navigating through all of that. We've had close calls at times where it just seemed like it was, how are we going to get to the next, stretch of the road? But we persevered and made it through. So those have kind of been the low points, and mostly me being a non-technical background founder. Technical in the sense of like IT stuff, because we're doing IT projects, So I had to learn how to manage an IT project, and sprint reviews and all these agile frameworks and things like that. I didn't even know what those words meant, 2 years ago. And so my MBA from LSU's come in handy. I didn't know if I'd ever use that thing I paid for, So that's been interesting. But it's been a lot of growth and personal development for me. So I love it. Even the bad times are good times in that regard. The highs have just been seeing the potential, There's some customer, and I won't do any name dropping, but there's some customers that are using our software that you're very familiar with the brand. Just leave it at that. And it's been really interesting. Now, some of those bigger brands we're kind of working with locally or regionally, and I wouldn't call it pilot programs, but there's certainly some, let's see if this solves the business problems, and then we could go bigger kind of a thing. So that's exciting, obviously, and just knowing that potential's out there. One of the biggest challenges is now that we're stable and all revenue positive and all those kind of things is thinking about future funding. Up to this point, it's been self-funded, one other person, and I don't mean it's been cheap. It's been a lot. And so thinking about that, I have people that offer to get involved financially, silent partners that just want to lend money to the project for one reason or another all the time. But how do I value something that's not even remotely reached potential yet? So I don't know how to go through that valuation process. A lot of the revenue we've made up to this point has been consulting and services because the product just wasn't, it was in development or wasn't ready. And I definitely don't want to value software company based on my consulting services, because
Right.
that kind of convolutes things. And so I want to clean a little bit of that up first, and before we think about taking any money. And but we're gonna definitely, with the growth out in front of us, we're gonna need it. So got to figure that piece out.
Well, it sounds like there's a wide ocean of potential leads in front of you.
Yeah, yeah, we're actually not even working our network or lead base yet, just because we want to make sure that the our initial 10 customers, 12 customers on the full software system have a well-rounded experience, and solve their problems. I think we've been creative in the way that we partnered with them looking at us as a young company, and but also a very good product. So we've been creative in how we've gone about those negotiations and partnerships, and I think it's gonna pay off for them as much as for us. Them taking a chance with us, and then us rewarding them on great software at a really, really economical price over the long run. So, and right now we're able to give them the software offering that they paid for, but then also partner with them to a lot greater extent from a consultant standpoint. And it's worked really well. So
That's awesome. I mean, kudos to that growth story and just the path ahead. It's easy to say, it's a lot harder to do. So, and you're living it. So,
I would not advise it as I
well,
as I as I think back about it. I mean, I would do it if you have. I'd do it again if you
sure.
have the just the personality type to weather it. Because I can see how some folks could just get beaten up, chewed up, and spit out by it. So it's a lot of keeping your head down and just ignoring things that pop up that may be even true, and you may know they're true, but you just got to keep your head down and keep pushing forward. It takes some of that, which is like navigating a landmine, just to get through the field to the other side. And I would imagine that's not for everybody, but so
Well, I imagine there's a lot of people in the construction industry that's thankful for your journey and the grit that it's taken to get to this point.
we're getting there. I think there will be.
Well, Dustin, I really appreciate your time today. This has been just a fascinating insight into the health and safety elements within construction and how you guys are truly that one-stop shop and positioned for a pretty compelling growth story.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's been fun to talk about.
Thank you. All right, cool. How was